The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
It's right about time again to swerve again.
Hello, everybody. You know, I open up every show by saying, welcome to this very special interview. I don't know what else to say. That's why I say it. I got to think of a better line. I got to come up with something. But I'm excited about this interview. And I'll tell you why. This is a 100% cold interview. I've never met this individual before. I've never spoken to him before. I am an absolute huge fan of his because the individual that I'm about to bring on and introduce you to, he represents to me everything that professional wrestling was, used to be, should be, but no longer is. And everybody knows I am a character-driven person. I am a writer. I believe in great characters, great storylines. To me, please forgive me, Lord up above, the wrestling is secondary because everybody can wrestle. Yes, some can wrestle better than others, but what really sets them apart is the character, and having that ability to suck me in and get emotions out of me, whether they're positive or negative, it doesn't matter. In wrestling, that is a lost art, and you hear me talk about it every single week. But one of the best out there in the game today that has this art down to a science is TNA's Samuel Shaw. Sam, are you there?
I am here, and that was a hell of an introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, Sam, I gotta apologize to you first, but listen, I'm gonna give you a little backstory because I think you'll appreciate this. This is the first interview, Sam, where I've been late. You know, you and I had a set time. I'm about 40 minutes late. I'm never late, Sam, never. But, Sam, let me tell you what happened because I think you'll appreciate this story. Sam, there's a guy that I go back with like some 15, 20 years. His name is Juventud Guerrera. You may know him as the Juice. So I've been trying to track down this Juice for weeks now. Trying to nail him down to get an interview is like, I mean, it's ridiculous, Sam. It's, you know, you have a better chance of getting a female victim locked in the basement than I do getting Hoovy locked down. So finally, Sam, I make contact with Hoovy. So Hoovy tells me to call him later on tonight, and we'll set up the interview. So now, Sam, me knowing Hoovy, I say to myself, let me get in touch with him today so I can remind him about later on tonight because it's the Juice, Sam. You know, he doesn't think like a rational person. So Sam, finally, I get a hold of the Juice. I'm ready to do your interview. I'm all set for you and everything. I get ready to Juice. I'm trying to set him up for later. Juice writes me back. I could do the interview in 20 minutes. Okay? Now, Sam, on top of that, a couple other things. First of all, Juice is in the UK. Can you imagine trying to explain to Juice how to set up Google Hangout?
Oh, boy. Considering how computer illiterate I am, you know, I'm pretty amazed that I got on here as quickly as I did.
But. You got on here quick. Juice was a whole other story. And you know what? You know what the hysterical thing is with this guy, Sam? If you ever heard the way Juice talks, he writes just like he talks. So he's sending me these DMs that I'm trying to make sense out of. But anyway, Sam, that's why I'm late. I apologize. I'm never late, my brother.
Hey, no apology needed.
Now, Sam, listen, there is so much I want to talk to you about because you know what's a phrase I always like to use in wrestling, and I've used this throughout my entire career. The phrase I use is, he gets it. In my opinion, in my world, as somebody that's written for over 20 years for 3 different companies, you either get it or you don't get it. It's one of the two. And I hate to say this, those that don't get it never get it. Those that get it, if you can't get those people over, then you should be fired from your job. You should not have a job. Sam, I hope you understand what I just said, because out of everybody on my television today, I would probably say in the wrestling business, you get it more than anybody else I've seen in a very long time.
Man, that really means a lot to me. I strive to get it. I listen to the veterans. I was trained by the right people. I want to be one of the best in this business. I want to stand out. So, and for a long time, like you were saying, it was all about the wrestling for me. And then all of a sudden it's like something just hit me and said, hey, I need to stand out more. It's not everybody can wrestle, and it's funny too, because a lot of people don't think I can wrestle and I'm just this character, but I wrestled on the indies for 8 straight years. I still wrestle on the indies, but it doesn't matter move wise what I do in the ring. It's this character that I portray and that I've grasped a hold of that I'm really enjoying. So,
well, let me ask you this, Sam, and I'm so interested in this, and I'm so thankful to have this conversation with you, because a lot of people in the industry listen to these interviews, and man, bro, if you can pass something along to a lot of these people, that's what I want to get across here. So Sam, let's go back to the beginning. When you started your training to become a professional wrestler, I believe it was who trained you again? It's on the tip of my tongue. Hughes, right?
Yes, Mr. Hughes initially trained me for about.
And he's a great human being, bro. I worked with that guy. I loved that guy. But let me ask you this, Sam. Early on, how much of an emphasis was put on the actual in-ring work compared to, okay, bro, you got to be a character. That's what's going to make you sell. That's what's going to make difference. What was the balance as you were learning the trade?
I think when I initially started, and as I was saying, I was with Mr. Hughes for about a year and just training with him. He was teaching me all the fundamentals. I think he felt like I had something to give to the business eventually. I think he just wanted to, make sure that all the fundamentals were in place, get me on the road with him. We were going back and forth from Atlanta to Memphis wrestling every other weekend and doing lots of indies. And I was just really focusing on the fundamentals and being a wrestler and not thinking so much about the character, because I felt like that was something that would be developed later. Like I said, just really trying to grasp the fundamentals and be the best wrestler that I could be. It didn't come to me until a little bit later, probably after I left Mr. Hughes and went to Team 3D Academy in Kissimmee, Florida. That's where I really, was taught by Bubba Ray and Devon the importance of a character.
Well, Sam, I had no idea you went there, and my God, okay, that now explains a lot to me. Explains a lot. So basically, once you got there, and again, I mean, Bubba and Devon, they're two great friends, of course, but I mean, really great characters, got it down to a T. I'm just curious, now when you go to a 3D Academy, how does the character development work? What is the structure? We all pretty much know, how wrestling works, the fundamentals, you learn the basics. I went through that myself at Gleason's gym. Then you learn the moves. I think that's pretty explanatory. But now the character, what was the structure that they bestowed upon you at the academy?
Okay, I was really trying to think about this as you were asking the question, because so many things come to mind, those first few times that I walked through those doors. All all throughout my training with Mr. Hughes and doing indies in Atlanta and Memphis, it was very much like I was looked at as like a baby face type guy. Like I had this all-American, good look, and, just had that look about me. Like I was a baby face. And I walk into Team 3D Academy and Bubba Ray is like really like trying to get a sense of who I am as a person and maybe trying to push my buttons a little bit. I don't know. I think that he maybe thought I came in with a lot of confidence, maybe a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. And he started saying stuff like, I really think that you should try working on being a heel, because I feel like you have something deep down inside that's just waiting to like really get out. And I was all for it because I feel like you work as a babyface, you work as a heel, you understand both aspects and you can be better at both in the long run.
Let me. I'm going to take a little left turn here, Sam, because again, I don't prepare notes, I don't prepare questions. I go with the flow of the interview. Just so you know, Sam, I'm compared to. They call me the Oprah of podcasting. Just so you know that. A couple of people, Sam, have cried on this show. I don't think I'm going to make you cry, but I just want. I gotta warn people ahead of time. Sam, listen. One of the things with me, especially at TNA, was I worked, Sam, with a lot of the younger guys. And, Sam, I have two young boys. They're not young anymore. My boys now are 28, 25. I got a 21-year-old daughter. Sam, I know with that generation, there's a sense of entitlement. And, I know, that age, they want things handed to them. They don't want to work hard, and I dealt with that every single week at TNA, and it drove me crazy. These 20-something kids knew more than I ever knew. Fast forward to, Sam, me being a friend of Bill DeMott, knowing how old school Bill DeMott is, and just knowing that situation's an accident to happen, waiting to happen. Now, with all that being said, Sam, I can't imagine for 1 second Bully Ray and Devon teaching their students with kid gloves and, being careful what they say and the rigors that they put people through with their upbringing and their schooling and their background. I can't believe for 1 minute that's how these guys trained, but I'd also have to believe, Sam, that had to benefit you in training with those guys.
Oh, man. It was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but I wouldn't take back a second. I think that training with Bubba Ray and Devon was like going to the Harvard of pro wrestling schools. It was very hard, tedious, rigorous. There were days that you didn't want to go. And I'm not going to lie. There's days that just like, God, I didn't want to deal with, Bubba's crap. I didn't want to deal with.
You too, bro. You too didn't want to deal with Bubba's crap. Go ahead.
He's going to kill me.
Bro, I knew
when he hears this.
Yeah, but I knew I liked you for a reason. Go ahead.
He's going to kill me when he hears that. But, like, I'm just being honest. Like, there were days when I was just so beat up. We went 4 or 5 days a week. You put in as much as you wanted to, but I got into this to make it and make it big. And I knew that if I let Bubba down, if I let Devon down, if I let our strength and conditioning coach Dan Carr down, it just made me feel like I was doing something wrong or I wasn't giving it my all. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Man, it was torturous. It's a hot little tiny room with a ring, and by the end of the practice, 3-4 hours of practice, the ring is soaked. Guys are slipping, and we're having matches in this slippery ring, and it was crazy. But I wouldn't take back a second.
Now, Sam. Okay, so now Bubba. And of course, bro, I know Bubba. I know Bubba's mind. I know how intelligent the guy is. He sees something in you, which is obviously there. He sees a heel side of you. At that moment, when he gives that to you, what do you start thinking of in your head? Is a certain type of character starting to be formed at that point?
Well, I was always a fan of like a Rick Rude. I had a friend who I lived with. Me and my brother lived with this guy. We had a nickname for him, and his name was Slick Sleazy, because he was. Well, I'll tell you the quick story. One night we were about to go out to a bar, and this guy comes rolling out of the shower with a towel around his waist, a comb in his hand, and a beer in the other hand. And he comes running. He had socks on, and he slides across the floor, and he just starts slicking his hair back, drinks a beer, and he says, "Time to go sleaze on some ladies tonight." And my brother and I just looked at each other like, oh my God, that's Slick Sleazy right there. So like, not knowing at the time like that I would ever like, I think when Bubba told me like, hey, we need you to do like a heel character, you know, get an idea of like what you would want to do for that, because I feel like you could do that. I immediately thought of Slick Sleazy. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was perfect, you know, just that cockiness, that arrogance, coming out with a comb, and you know, and the heel characters of the 80s just always, you know, resonated with me. So that's what I wanted to do.
Well, Sam, how much, though, of the aspect of the character, you know, drew you to the business? Did you want to get into wrestling because you loved the actual wrestling? Or, you know, were you like me, you watched the TV and these characters were bigger than life? What was it that initially drew you to the business?
It was definitely the bigger than life characters. I mentioned Rick Rude. He always stood out to me because of his physique, his presence, his ring music, his robe, his promos, his ability to just make a crowd totally despise him. It still stands out to this day to me. Like, even in today's, you know, I wouldn't say the characters of today are as great as the 80s characters, but guys like Rick Rude, Ultimate Warrior, obviously Hulk Hogan, all those guys that were larger than life stood out to me, and I was just like, that's what I want to do. Even somebody that was technically sound like a Bret Hart, you know, eventually he developed that Hitman character, and that was something that was really cool to me and stood out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Sam, let me ask you this now. So, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. I know you had a first little run in TNA, and Sam, I didn't see any of that. You know, all that Aces and Eights stuff, I mean, I saw none of that. But, you know, in what I'm reading, you really didn't have much of a character during that run, did you?
No, I didn't. It was sort of like something that I was just doing on my own. Like, okay, well, I'm going to sort of be me. Like, I live in Florida. I surfed growing up. I skated. I did all these like extreme sports type things. And I wear board shorts to the gym. I wear them around town, you know. Why not like just be sort of that colorful extreme sports type character and see if anybody can latch onto it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I don't really think it was a very interesting character. I did it when I was sent to OVW for about a year, and you know, they just kept pushing it there. And eventually, you know, I was cheered like a great baby face, you know, because I was just full of fire, full of energy, did a lot of high flying moves, things like that. But still didn't feel like everything was clicking. You know what I mean?
Now, Sam, what was the reason for going back to OVW? Was there a part of your game they wanted you to work on? Was there just not room on the TNA roster? I mean, what led to you going back to OVW?
Well, Al Snow called me and asked me to do the gut check. Mm-hmm. And I was familiar with the gut check thing. I think 2 or 3 people had been, hired out of it already, and they were immediately sent to OVW. Actually, I think they were already at OVW because Al Snow had some sort of working relationship at the time with OVW, and I think TNA had started their developmental program with them. Al Snow called me. I went to do the gut check. I honestly think that they weren't expecting much from me, performance-wise. I think, the last 2 gut check performances had been, yes, you're hired kind of thing. And maybe they wanted to see a no. Maybe they were setting me up to be that no. Mm-hmm. But I looked at it as like, okay, camera's on, lights are on me, everything's focused on me. I'm going to make the best of it. And I have to give a lot of credit to Doug Williams, who I wrestled in that match, for really, figuring out what was going to make me sort of like stand out a little bit. And it was pretty incredible. Like, we had a good match and the crowd reaction was just nuts. And I get to the back and like Eric Bischoff like looked at me and he's just like, what the fuck, man? And I was just like, what'd I do? And then I went out, did the promo, and then they said yes. And then I came to the back and he told me straight up, like, we were expecting it to be a no. We didn't have high expectations for it, but you killed it, man. You did a really good job. And sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but as soon as I got to the back, Al Snow, he said, you did great. Can you report to OVW as soon as possible? And I was just like, wow, here I just got hired basically by TNA. I'm thinking I was just at the best wrestling school, I think, in the country. Why do I need to go to OVW initially? But that also goes back to like, we're the microwave generation and we want it all now, Mm-hmm. So I just sort of, yes, sir. And a few weeks later, I was headed off to OVW and I was there for a year.
Okay, and that's where you were doing the skater type character for the course of a year. Okay, so now TNA calls you back up to TNA. Talk to me about that, because I'm thinking when they called you back up, at that point it was a total character makeover, correct?
Absolutely. It's kind of a funny story because I was actually I was going to take about a week off. I drove back to Florida just to be with family, and I started hearing rumors, or I got text messages from some of the guys saying that, releases were in order. Some releases were happening that day. And, like Taylor Hendricks, Crimson, guys like that were getting released. And I was thinking, okay, well, I think at that time it was like 10 or 11 people. I thought maybe I was going to get a call too, And sure enough, Al Snow called me and I said, am I getting released? And he's like, why would you say that? So he wasn't releasing me, but I guess, Crimson was a good friend of mine, and I was staying with him in the Nashville area, and he was doing OVW as well. And it was just kind of shocking to hear that he got released. So I sort of figured like I'd be in the same boat, they just didn't have any plans for me. Like, why keep me around, Mm-hmm. But I was told to stay put for a while and I could stay in Florida, and I just started working as many indies as I could. And then I got a call from Big John Gaborik, and he said to bear with him. He had some ideas, and they see something in me and they'd like to bring me in eventually and talk to me about these ideas. So I think it was Oklahoma a couple months later, late 2013, came in and did a dark match, I think, or an explosion match with Kazarian. And Big pulled me into a room and he said, I've got this character and just wondering if you're game for it. And he explained it, and I was just like, it was like music to my ears. I was just like, this is like the most awesome, something very tangible, you know? And I'm such a fan of like the horror movie genre and, you know, some of the TV shows that are really popular today, like Dexter, things like that. This was just like tailor-made for me, you know? I wouldn't say I'm a creepy person, like, in all reality, but maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Well, that's a good thing that you bring up. Did you ever ask John, like, where he got it from? I mean, he had to look at you. He had to see something. There's some place John had to put two and two together. Did you ever have that conversation with him?
I still want to have that conversation with him. I think that he, you know, maybe the company had this idea for the character and they're like, who on our roster doesn't really have much going on and who could possibly fill that role? And then they're like, oh, well, Samuel Shaw, he's pretty creepy. We can do it with him.
I don't agree with that. I got to tell you, listen, I give Big all the credit in the world for Sam Shaw, and I think he looked at you and he saw that. I mean, I really do believe it. But now, Sam, this is very important. Okay, so John gives you this idea. Thank God, first and foremost, you embrace this idea. That's number one, first and foremost. Tell me, what's the first thing you do? How do you become the character Samuel Shaw? Do you like you just said, you like that genre of movies and television shows? Do you start doing research? Do you start thinking of, facial expressions or just what you're going to say in promos? How do you start creating that character once he gives you that seed?
Well, I immediately went home and started watching American Psycho, which I've seen 100 times, but I'm sitting there with a notebook and I'm pausing it. I'm rewinding. I'm looking at little nuances, facial expressions, the way he walks, the way he moves, the way he delivers lines. And I'm not the best promo in the world yet. I want to be one day. I feel like I'm improving. But really and truly studying all that stuff, I think, has helped. And actually, I wanted to touch on this, but somebody that influenced me a lot too is Adam West. And I know that you're a big
huge
Batman guy. Yeah. I'm not trying to get over even more with you, but
no, huge.
But
Sam, get.
Well, just some of the things that he said, on the Batman TV show as Bruce Wayne were sort of peculiar to me, but almost like it was above the audience's head.
Sam, can I tell you a great Adam West story, bro? And you're gonna love this because this relates to you, bro. So close, bro. Listen, there was a Chiller convention in New Jersey about I don't know, a couple 7 years ago, whatever it was. Adam West and Burt Ward were gonna be there. Okay, so, New Jersey was my backyard. I made a couple of calls. I'm like, listen, you got to get me on the convention. You don't have to pay me. I have to meet Adam West before I die. Okay, that's it. So, bro, they get me on the convention. They bring me over to meet Adam West. Okay, and Sam, you will appreciate this because I'm going to bring up a word that you brought up that is so key. But like the question I always wanted to ask Adam West was, and I said this to you earlier in the interview, like how did you do that, bro? Like Yeah, Sam, I believe, bro, you could have put 1,000 actors in that role. Nobody would have done what he did. So, bro, I go to meet Adam West. There's a long line for him and everything. And, I had, this much stroke because, he used to write for the WWE. So they bring me up to Adam West, and I literally kneel next to him. I mean, bro, I'm like, yeah, Sam, I'm like a 2-year-old child at this point, right? But I knew what was the one question I always wanted to ask him, And so I kneel next to him, and I said, Mr. West, I said, I have to ask you, how did you do that? How did you do it? And, bro, he stopped signing and everything, and he looked at me. And you're going to appreciate this because this has a lot to do with what you're saying about you. He looked at me, and Sam, he called me by name. Called me Vince, Yeah. And he goes, Vince, he goes, the first time I ever picked up the script and read it, he said, I got it. He said, I immediately got it. Now, listen, Sam, this is very important because this is what 99% of them don't get and why they never get over. You brought up the one word that I talk about to nauseam, that Vince McMahon taught me about, that Adam, West confirmed, and bro, that's nuances. The freaking nuances. And that's why I said early on before even talking to you, this guy gets it. When you're sitting down and you're watching American Psycho and you're not looking at the big, broad strokes, but rather the nuances, bro, that's what gets characters over. A lot of people in the business, Sam, tend to look at the big strokes. Sam, I want to vomit to this day when I still hear people talking about baby faces and heels. Because what they do, and Sam, they want to paint baby faces black. They want to paint baby faces heels. They still want to do that in 2014 when it's been outdated for a quarter of a century. My philosophy was, I don't care if you boo or cheer as long as you react to the character. You react to him. You could cheer for him. You could boo for him. I don't care. As long as you tune in every Monday night, every Wednesday night to see him, that's all I care about. So Sam, now, how did you know to look for those nuances? Because I would have to think immediately you had some kind of an acting background, something that made you look at the important things to really define this character.
I think I was always impressed, enthralled by sort of the backstage goings on of like a Heath Ledger, like him taking on the Joker role and just making it his own, and just almost like these method actors always sort of like. That was always enticing to me, to sort of like, go online and dig up, like, what did these people do to get into these roles, And you hear the stories of like Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, like just being Batman, being Bruce Wayne, being the Joker on the set at all times. Fascinating to me, and I think that really, like, if you do that, you really have no problem going out in front of a camera, in front of a live audience, like portraying that. It just becomes so much easier. So it's almost like, and some of the guys will tell you, like, when I'm backstage at TNA, like, I'm still like sort of like, I'll creep around corners and I'll look at people and just see if they notice me there, and mm-hmm. I like to scare Eddie Edwards. I like to scare Spud. I like to scare Gunner. Magnus thinks, man, there's something really creepy about me, I don't know. I just think, man, just being a character, like you said, is just so important today, and sort of a lost art, I think.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you this. Though. It is. You're absolutely right, but I want to get your opinion. Why? Why do you think that is?
I think the audience today of professional wrestling is just, they've seen every freaking move in the book, and every, wrestler today is so athletic and so high flying, and they can do this, they can do that. They just lose sight of the fact that why they really wanted to be a wrestler in the first place, because most of the guys are my age. They didn't see all that crazy stuff that they're doing today. They got into it because of why I got into it. It was the over the top, larger than life characters. And some of these guys maybe can't do that. And I'm not knocking anybody that just goes out there and has incredible high-flying matches.
Sam, let me ask you this, though, Sam, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I got to ask you while I got this train of thought. Sam, do you think it's because many of them can't, or many of them don't want to?
I think that they've been doing what they've been doing on the indie scene for so long that they don't know any other way. It's sort of like you got to reprogram them. And in a lot of ways, I had to be reprogrammed. And like, at first, like I said, I didn't want to go to OVW. I didn't want to go, leave my family in Florida and go to Louisville, Kentucky, to this old developmental system that I didn't think I was going to learn much from. But I'll tell you what, being under Al Snow, being under people that really are trying to like take your strengths and put them out there and work smarter, not harder. That really resonated with me, and I toned down a lot of my high flying stuff. I was sort of reprogrammed at OVW because I was following everybody else on the indie scene and doing as many cool moves as I could, but it wasn't really getting me anywhere. You know what I mean? And now this character, like, people know me more as the creepy bastard than anything else ever. And what do I do in the ring? Like, one move.
Yeah. Well, Sam, it's interesting that you say that, because let me tell you that what I used to find all the time, and Sam, this is what used to frustrate me. Listen, I'm a firm believer in everybody should have a character. Everybody should be a character, because that's what's going to make you unique, and that's what's going to make you different, and I sound like a broken record. So whether you were an X Division guy or a 300-pound guy, it didn't matter to me. My job was to try to give you a character, okay? Here's where it fell short, Sam, and I'm sure you'll understand this. With these X Division guys, when I would try to give them a character, and we would try to, put detail, to that character and form that character, this is what would happen, Sam. They'd be laying out their X Division matches, and all day long I'm watching them in the back. And if they're not talking to each other, they're talking to themselves, Sam, doing the old, all day long. What they're doing is they're memorizing every single move in the match. But, Sam, you know what happened? As they're memorizing every move in the match because they don't want to forget a move, they're totally forgetting their character. So the first thing that gets thrown out the window is the character, because like you said, Sam, every character would sell a move a certain way. Every character would go on the offensive a certain way, all depending on your character. How would my character do this? Well, once the character went out the window because they had to memorize all these high spots, what happened now, Sam, is everybody became the same. So my question to you is now we've got the character. Now we've got the Sam Shaw. I give all the credit in the world to John. Some of the I saw the early vignettes he shot. He wasn't going to put one of them on the air. And he showed me, it was the one where you and Hemi, it showed like room to room. And he showed me. I said, John, that's freaking brilliant. I said, you need to put that someplace. The stuff was brilliant. Brilliant, bro. So, but here's my question now, because now it's all, now you got to bring it to a whole different level. Now we're watching the movies, we're getting the nuances, we're studying the character. Now explain, how does that character transition into the ring?
Well, I just looked around and I said, I want to be everything different. I don't want to be like anybody else here. Like, everybody said, oh, well, you have, a good body, you should show it off. I was like, I want to wear a kill shirt like Dexter did in the TV show. Mm-hmm. I want to wear long pants, like puke green pants, and Steve Madden boots that I resold to be wrestling boots, and wear gloves because I don't want to leave fingerprints at the crime scene. Or I don't want to, touch my bare hands on somebody, it just weird little things like that. I got a haircut. I was like, I have to look like a very slick individual. I have to walk like American Psycho. I have to, as far as the in-ring work, I had to tone it down a lot. And I didn't think there's anything wrong with that. Everybody has a cool finishing move with a lot of noise that makes everybody go, oh, but the minute the fans see that, they're going to say, that was really cool. I like that guy. For me, I wanted a move that just made them go, oh, that's that move. I have like a choke out maneuver that me and Taz talked about. It's called a katagatami. I call it the artist's touch. And it's really just the choke out, has no noise, and the guy goes to sleep. And that's it. And I think if you really push that, people are going to start knowing that that's the finish, but it's not pretty. It's nothing that the fans can latch onto and be like, hey, that was really cool. I like that guy. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, now I want to listen. Sam, I got to bring something up because I'm just curious about this, and I have to bring it up. And I don't know if it's true, but I kind of got a sense of it when I was consulting, obviously backstage when you were doing a lot of your stuff, and I loved your stuff, bro. I mean, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, but I got the feeling from what I'm hearing and what I'm picking up that, especially when you got further into the angle with Ken Anderson, and you were on opposite sides, then Gunnar was trying to tell the story of he's really not bad a guy and this, that, and the other thing. I kind of got the feeling, and I don't know why, and I could be totally wrong, but from what I picked up and what I was sensing, I kind of got the feeling that Ken Anderson wasn't particularly in love with the angle and the program. Was that true?
I honestly never got that from him. Ken actually became a really, close friend of mine within the business, and I learned an incredible amount from him. Like, we were doing all the house shows working with each other in 2014, pretty much every weekend we were having 3 matches a weekend and traveling together, which is, not supposed to say that, I guess, but these days, whatever. Yeah. I never got that feeling that Ken didn't like the angle. He was always more than willing to, try out anything that the writing team was putting out his way. And we had a lot of unique matches that I look back on, and I wish people would give like a second chance to, because I feel like we really worked hard. I know people don't always get to watch the show when it's on TV. They DVR it or they go on YouTube, and you only see like, Impact Wrestling puts up the last 3 minutes of a match. I wish that they could see the whole match, that, some of the matches that me and Ken had in New York, I just felt like were great, and the crowd was with us,
Well, yeah, and that's why, like I said, I was kind of getting a sense of that. I didn't want to ask because I was just a consultant and it was none of my business, but I will say this, bro. Listen, Sean Waltman, back in the day, put D'Lo Brown on the map. I mean, when he went out and did his D'Lo Brown impression for, DX, D'Lo was over. You had all the tools, and when Anderson turned around and started calling you a creepy bastard, that was like the icing on the cake. And this is what I loved about it, and this is why, like, I was hearing certain things, but, like, I didn't know, because it felt that I worked with Ken. I love working with Ken. But it felt to me when Ken was calling you a creepy bastard, Ken believed it. That's what made it so great. So that's why, like, I was hearing things over here, but then I was seeing Ken over here, and I was just kind of getting missed signals. So that's why I just wanted to ask you the question.
Hey, no problem. I would hope that Ken enjoyed it as much as I did, because I'm extremely thankful to him for really, I mean, he really got me over. That whole creepy bastard thing in the UK and London, I'll never, ever forget that. And I sort of embrace that now. Like, I'm okay being the creepy bastard because it's something to latch onto,
Yeah. Yeah, and I got to tell you, too, I mean, not for anything, Christy did a phenomenal job. You had great – listen, if you're a great actor, and you are, Sam, but you're working with somebody who's not, it's going to lose a little something. I mean, it just is. And Christy was great. That's why the chemistry in that first story was so good, because you were off the charts. Christy was good, and Ken comes in with the creepy bastard. I mean, it was money.
Thank you. Yeah, that first time, like when we did that big thing in London, there was like a lot of dialogue between me, Christy, and Ken, and I really didn't know how that was gonna like translate in the ring in an 8-minute segment. But once we were out there, it was like so easy, because those, Christy and Ken are just so good at bouncing off each other and me. And it just, I think it came off great. Really got the character over.
Now, Sam, let me ask you this. And again, I'm being totally honest with you, bro. I have not watched Impact in a while. I mean, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, thank God you're moving off of Friday nights. I mean, when Destination America came out of the gate with Friday night, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? So thank God that's over. But listen, that had a lot to do with me not watching the show. Now you're on, I think it's June 2nd, Wednesday night, which is phenomenal. But I got to ask you this, Sam, because I'm not sure. Have you currently been involved in an angle and a storyline weekly on Impact?
No, I have not. It's actually been quite a while, actually. So
you've not been on at all?
Nope.
Can I tell you something, bro?
Sure.
And we're gonna shoot totally straight here.
Absolutely.
But I think there's a pot of gold for you at the end of the rainbow. Okay, bro. I'm telling you from experience. Okay, you have far and away, bro, the best character on the show. Nobody comes close. It's not a jab or a shot at anybody else. I worked with all those people for a very long time. It's, bro, you're a 10. And I mean, if somebody's a 7, that's probably the closest they're going to get to you. You do such a phenomenal job with this character. And here's the thing, Sam. There's so many different levels to this character. I would compare this to when I worked at the WWE, when I had to write for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay? Writing for Austin was a full-time job, because as a performer, Sam, he was on a whole other level. So you just couldn't, give Steve Austin gaga. You literally had to stop and think, and I mean, it was almost a full-time job. You are so good at what you do. Writing for Samuel Shaw is a full-time job. And I got to be honest with you, Sam. I'm just going to say this. When I watch you perform, your mind is that it's not on a wrestling level, Sam. It's on a different level. It's on you talked about, Dexter and American Psycho. That's the level that your mind works, and that's not the wrestling level. The wrestling level is what I said to you: white hat good guy, black hat bad guy. That's the wrestling level. So I think, Sam, when it comes down to a character like yours, I'm going to be totally honest with you, Sam. I don't think wrestling writers have the ability to do somebody like you justice. Now, keep in mind, when I was consulting, the TNA writers were doing their thing. I was sitting at home, and I was kind of like, working the same way, like on an individual basis. So I was able to spend the time looking at these characters, trying to define the characters, and yours was at the top of the list. And I'm not taking any credit for that at all, Sam. What I'm trying to say is I was able to put the time in that needs to be put in with a character like yours. Do you understand what I'm saying? And listen, I'm going to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so we're going to be okay here, but do you understand what I'm saying? Has that ever crossed your mind, or do you totally disagree?
No, I definitely agree with you, and I have relationships with these writers, and I don't really get, I'm not privy to all the meetings or what is being talked about creatively for me all the time, but it's been, they've put it out there to, like, especially Big has really been good about, if I have any ideas, to shoot them to him, and he always responds to me if I send him an email. And I'm not saying I always have the best ideas, but I agree with what you said. Like, I feel like you have to really take your time to think about what direction this character is going to go next. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't really, I've had 2 relationships with women on TV already, and we had the thing with Gunner, with Ken. Now what? You know what I mean? And I have ideas, but let's not rush it. It's hard because we talked about the microwave generation. Like, I want everything now. I see my friends like Spud. I see EC3. I see these guys. They're all in the top spots now, and
because Sam, they're easy to write for. Yeah. I mean, Sam, let's face it. Spud has a look. Spud does slapstick. I mean, bro, EC3. I had Ethan on the show. Great character. I love the guy, but bro, not a difficult character. Your character is all here. It's all mental. It's all in the head. You don't got to send you out to be this cocky, arrogant, brash EC3. I mean that's easy. Take nothing away from him. It's easy. But but listen. But here's the thing, Sam. This is what I hate, man. And I'm just going to be honest. I'm not bad mouthing TNA. I'm talking to you as a writer. I've got no axe to grind with TNA. I bring you on here. I want to promote Wednesday nights. I want to promote the product. But here's what I have an issue with. The character was so intriguing, and you were bringing it to such a level, and it's almost like when we don't know where to go with it. God, Sam, it's almost out of sight and out of mind. And I'm sorry, as a writer myself, it is my job to know where to go with it. That's what I'm getting paid for. If Sam is a name on the roster, my job is to get that name over. That's my job, and that's why, like, I'm very, very passionate about that. But listen, this is what I'm good. This is what I'm thrilled about. I know Billy Corgan. I've had many conversations with Billy Corgan. And you know what, Sam? I'm going to put you in the same category, honest to God, because, Sam, everybody throws the word genius around, and everybody throws the word artist around. I don't. I don't throw those words around. But I've had conversations with Billy Corgan where I know, Sam, the guy's on a whole other level. He's the kind of guy that when you can get him to talking, you don't even want to say a word. You want to, this is the guy that created the Smashing Pumpkins, for crying out loud. This is an artist. This is a true artist. This is a guy that doesn't think like the normal person. And now, you know, what I'm thinking is somebody like him coming along. Listen, you're not going to put Billy Corgan in a wrestling box. You're not going to tell Billy, these are the bad guys and these are the good guys, and Billy Corgan's going to do it. He's not going to do that. He's an artist. He wants to think outside of the box. I think with him aboard now, bro, that marriage between you and him can have no boundaries. Have you had a chance to converse with him yet?
You know, not very much. I wasn't at these last this last round of tapings in Orlando, and I heard nothing but good things when he was there from friends of mine, and I'm sure he's got some really great ideas. I was thrilled to hear that he had come aboard. And he actually, you know, I started following him on Twitter, and then he followed me a few days later, and then I hit him up and I just told him, like, hey, really excited that you're on board and wish I was at these last tapings so I could pick your brain. And he immediately got back to me and we started talking about some creative ideas. And, you know, time will tell. I'm really very excited that he's on board, and I hope that, you know, he sees something in me and we can get rolling again, because I want to work, and I feel like I've paid some dues, and I'm, you know, I really feel like I own this character. I think that I'm a viable piece to the TNA infrastructure, and I want to be one of the featured guys. And I told Big in the UK, when I wasn't really being used when I was there, I told him, like, I see something more for myself here. Like, I want to be one of the guys, if not the guy, eventually. And I think that eventually they really need to give me the ball and let me run with it, because I'm ready.
Sam, take it from me. Listen, I have, like I said, I got no axes to grind. But on the other side of the coin, bro, I'm not looking for John Gaborik to call me tomorrow. I'm not. I've been in wrestling for 25 years. When I see what's ahead of me, I call it the way I see it, and a lot of it is based on my experience. Okay, this is really one of the things that sucks about professional wrestling, Sam. You know, there are so many things that are out of your control. I am telling you, Sam, as a professional and a guy that wrote for probably 1,000 wrestlers, bro, you can't be any better than you are. I mean, Sam, I'm telling you that, and I really hope that sinks in and you understand that. In wrestling, bro, there's so much that goes on behind closed doors that the boys don't have a clue about. And, you know, Sam, unfortunately, 99.9% of it is absolute BS. There's a lot of politics. There's so much of that crap going on. But I got it, and you can't control it. And not only can't you control it, you'll never know about half of it. You just won't. But I got to tell you, bro, you are the best character I've seen in either company for, like, I honestly, I can't tell you how long. I mean, definitely the last 5 years. I mean, there's no question about it. There is nothing more, me personally, in my opinion, I think you can do. I just think, bro, I think it's gotten to a point now where it may almost be intimidating to write for you. Yeah, bro, because you're not simple. It's not, it's not simple. But like I said, I love the fact that Billy is there, and there's no doubt in my mind, Billy Corgan knows talent when he sees it. There's no talent. So, like, that's why I've been saying, everybody that been asking me, as long as they let that guy do what he's capable of doing, this could be the greatest godsend in the history of TNA. But you need to know, bro, you are freaking off the charts unbelievable. I have no reason, I don't know you, I have no reason to sit here and kiss your backside. I'm talking about being a television viewer. I'm a television fan. and sitting in my house and watching you, bro. You're incredible.
It means a lot. I really appreciate that. I had no idea that you were such a Samuel Shaw fan.
Oh, God, yeah, and you know, here's the worst thing, Sam. This is what I worry about. It's like, please don't tell the guy to change. You know, please, like, in other words, like, bro, you know how sometimes they'll put you in a program with somebody hoping that you bring the guy up, but it works the other way around and it brings the guy down? You know, it works that way sometimes. Like, I just hope, please don't bring this guy down from his level to make it easier to write for him, because, you know, like I said, bro, being on that level is unique and what really stands out. And I just want to tell you, Sam, I think you're an amazing talent.
Much appreciated. But, you know, like you said, it's out of my control. And whatever they give me, like, my job is to just go in and do the best I can with whatever they give me. So whether I like it or not, I'm not really going to make that known. I'm just going to go out there and shine, no matter what the situation is.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, but that's a pro, Sam. That's a pro. That separates the pros from the you know, the double A players. You know, we used to call it making chicken salad out of chicken shit. You have two choices. When Samuel Shaw is in the ring, okay, the world is going to see my brand for 5 minutes. Am I going to take this and make it the best I possibly can so people remember one little thing I did? Am I going to do that, or am I just going to crap all over this because I hate the idea, and am I just going to make sure, you know, that this fails? And there's a lot of people, you know, that do that, Sam. So, you know, again, you know, and you can't miss, bro. As long as you stay true to yourself and true to that character, they're going to remember you at the end of the show. That's what I always say about wrestling, you know, Sam. When the 2-hour show is over, what did I remember? That's the most important thing. It's whether it's a 10-second little thing I do or it's a 12-minute match, it's my commercial. It's a commercial for Samuel Shaw. And you want your commercial to be the most remembered commercial on the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Well, bro, not for anything. And listen, if people get hot at me at TNA, they've been hot at me before, and they'll be hot at me again. I'll tell you right now, I am dropping my friend Billy Corgan a message, and I am telling Billy Corgan that you are the best talent on the roster, and together you and him could make beautiful music together. Trust me, I'm going to do that. But listen, I'm telling you, Sam, I don't need to know that, because, you know, people like Billy, they know talent when they say, hey, Big knew talent when he saw it, when Big came up with the idea. But somehow, you know, bro, with everything that happens, you know, but, bro, listen, you can't keep the cream always, it's so cliche-ish, bro. The cream always rises to the top, Sam. Nobody's going to be able to keep you down. You're tremendous. Much appreciated. Yeah. Hey, Sam, can we give everybody, because I don't want to get the dates messed up, I don't want to get the times messed up, can we give everybody when is TNA going to Wednesday nights? What's the time going to be? Give them your email address. Give them everything so they can follow Sam Shaw and they can follow TNA. Well, real quick, follow me on Twitter at @Samuel Shaw. Follow me on Instagram at Samuel Shaw TNA. Let's see. Hit me up at shawdogarts@gmail.com for custom artwork. I am also a freelance artist. I draw pictures. Bro, that's another thing I didn't even bring up, Sam, because I'm putting you over to nauseum over here. Those drawings I saw were phenomenal. Sam, can I tell you something, bro? Listen, people are going to think now I'm a homo with you, but there's nothing wrong with that, Sam. But, Sam, I got to tell you this. I'm going to tell you a story about this. Sam, you know how somebody's a true artist? Bro, when they can do everything. When they could do everything. When they, you know, like an entertainer, when they can act, dance, and sing, you know they're a true artist. Bro, do you know, I'm a Queen mark, okay? I think Freddie Mercury was the most underrated entertainer of all time. Bro, do you know prior to his work, you know, he was like a graphic artist? Bro, the guy freaking drew and painted like Picasso. Freddie Mercury, I've seen some of his work. You would never believe it. And I remember, Christy going through the book now, and I remember saying to John, there's no way he drew that stuff. Like, John, bro, see, you're at that level, Sam. Need I say anything more? But go ahead. What do you do custom?
Well, pretty much anything. I've had some requests, some crazy requests before, but for the most part, I have fans that reach out and they want a full color drawing of the Legion of Doom, and I'll do that for them, and I will happily ship that to them.
Hey, Sam, would you maybe consider doing like a logo for me, bro?
Absolutely.
I think that would be incredible, man. I'd love to see what you'd come up with. We need to talk about that.
Absolutely. No problem at all.
So what's the address now for the artwork?
It's shawdogarts@gmail.com. SHAWDAWGARTS@gmail.com. I know it's kind of long, but that's just the email address I decided to pick out for myself.
Hey, bro, you want good artwork, you got to deal with the long email address. Too bad. Now, Sam, do you know the official date of Wednesday? I keep wanting to say June 2nd, but I don't want to be wrong.
It's June 3rd.
June 3rd. Okay, I was a day off. So June 3rd, Impact starts every Wednesday night. That would be 9 o'clock Eastern, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Sam, listen, I want to tell you, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Sam. I want to thank you for giving me hope of characters still being alive and well in professional wrestling. You give me hope. Hope is alive, Sam. And listen, I wish you nothing but the best. And listen, there's no doubt in my mind, I know you can't keep talent to the top, to the bottom. Cream always rises to the top. We got Corgan in there now. We got Wednesday nights. We're about to turn the corner, and I look forward to seeing that next storyline.
Me as well. Let's do this. And if you're gonna go see Adam West anytime, and it's near my home, let's go see him together because I need to meet that guy too.
Oh yeah, bro, I got him to. I marked out. He signed the post for me, bro. The only thing is, have you seen like the whole line of merch they've made for 1966?
Oh man, I don't claim to have a tremendous collection or anything. I do have the complete DVD collection of all the episodes.
Oh yeah, on Blu-ray, I hope.
I put them on like during the day, and I find myself just walking by the TV, just laughing. And
hey, so I'm gonna
actually pause it just the way I did with American Psycho. I'll rewind some of the Adam West lines, and if anybody's a real Adam West fan, you go back and watch some of my stuff. Like there's some lines that I put in there that were Adam West.
I'm definitely going to start looking at it differently now. As a matter of fact, bro, before you go, I'm gonna share a special treat with you. I turned in some of my CDs the other day because like the Batman 66 stuff is just way too expensive. So I got to turn in other stuff to get that. Let me show you what I got. Let me show you this little gem. All right, Sam, the first thing I got to ask you, though, is who's your favorite villain on the show?
I like the Riddler, honestly, because he was just the craziest character, just so full of energy. He really took that character to a new level.
But definitely we're talking Frank Gorshin. We're not talking about John Astin.
Frank Gorshin, right? For sure, yeah.
Unbelievable. Bro, you want to see my all-time favorite character? Bro, keep in mind, this was $30, bro. $30. That's why I had to turn in my CDs. Bro, you ready?
Egghead.
Oh, bro, how great. Bro, how great was Vincent Price, bro?
Vincent Price. Oh,
bro,
yeah.
$30. My wife was like, you're actually gonna pay $30 for a doll. And I said, you know what I said, Sam? I said, it's not just a doll, it's Egghead.
That's tremendous. I have actually a fan knew how much of a fan I was of the 60s Batman series. And he actually had a show in Bethlehem that we did with TNA. A fan had given me an action figure of Adam West as Batman with the surf trunks on and the surfboard. I got
that right over here, bro. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking. I got it sitting right over here.
I was going to bring it in, but I got to go way on the other side of the house to get it. But it's one of my favorite pieces of.
Yeah. My daughter bought me that for, I think, my birthday last year. I absolutely popped huge, bro. I love it. Well, hey, Sam, listen, we now we got to rebook another show, and just all we talk about is Batman 66, nothing else.
I'm down. Let's do it.
All right. Well, Sam Shaw, thank you very much for joining me here today. And as always, everybody, the brand, thank you for your support. We appreciate it. Watch Impact Wrestling June 3rd, moving to Wednesday nights. Sam Shaw is going to be back on there. Watch the show. Support Impact. Until then, everybody, I'll see you on the rebound.
The preceding presentation was brought to you by the Realm Network.